on that. Ryan's remarks comes as Trump threatened to shut down the federal government. Ryan's now saying, we agree. We don't disagree. Build the wall. That's what Trump said on Tuesday night in Arizona again. Now, the obstructionists, Democrats, would like us to not do it. But believe me, if we have to close down our government, we'll be building that wall. But Ryan downplayed that prospect of a government shutdown, according to the Post. He says, so I don't think anyone is interested in having a shutdown. And Ryan and Congress needed more time to complete the former process to fund the border wall, according to The Hill. So they are very legitimate problems and concerns on the border that need to be addressed, Ryan said, but we're going to need more time to complete what we have to do here to make it work for the Senate. I think what Trump does is he's kind of like a coach. He puts a charge up your ass. I mean, things don't move very fast as it is in Washington. I mean, it's just not a surprise. It's just how things are done. It's just gridlock and dragging and debating. And that's what they do. And sometimes you don't want to rush things through. We saw that what happened with the famous legislation of Obamacare, where Nancy Pelosi didn't even read it. Most people didn't read it. And a lot of people don't read them. They don't even understand them because they're miles long. They have speed readers that actually read them, and then they interpret it. But they don't read them themselves. It'd be nice to just simplify some of these things and not complicate these things. And a lot of the laws, quite frankly, that are on the books are really ridiculous. That's why we have so many lawyers. And even why do you think that they have the law libraries in their own law firm? It's just a lot to know and to read through and to sift through and to research. You'd be amazed at how many tens of thousands of laws that are on the books, and you thought you knew what the law was. Anybody that's studied for their bar exam remotely, if you're a legal clerk, and you're in the business helping out a lawyer, you know how much work is in it. And some people absolutely love for it and live for it, but you got to love the law. You got to know the law. It'd be nice for people to actually uphold the law. Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Here's a new poll out. Nearly 7 in 10 voters think President Donald Trump, his behavior could accidentally embroil the U.S. in an international conflict. This is according to the latest George Washington University battleground poll. Further, the poll finds Trump's approval ratings at 41%. 68% of voters think Trump's words, actions could cause an international conflict, while 29% disagree. 71% say his behavior is not what they expected from a president, while 27% disagree. However, 50%, this is interesting, approve of Trump's handling of the economy. And 52% said Trump had been keeping his campaign promises. The battleground poll data shows that more Americans object to President Trump's character than his agenda, said GW Associate Professor of Political Management Michael Cornfield. If there was anything approaching a consensus in today's sharply divided America, it's that Trump speaks and behaves inappropriately given the office he holds. He's not a politician. That's what makes it so different. If you're Barack Obama, you look good. You calculate your words, and you make people feel good about yourself when you sound like you're motivated. Like, we're going to get things done, okay? Even if I'm screwing everything up. But Donald Trump doesn't speak like that, and so they just, it's a hard act to follow when you're such a good speaker. I teach people how to speak well, even if they have a limited vocabulary, you can still sound intelligent. Donald Trump is not the world's greatest speaker. But it doesn't mean that he's stupid. Far from it. You don't get to where he's gotten by being a dummy. Beat all those politicians, seasoned politicians. They were all shocked. They all look like deer in the headlights, every single one of them. And they still don't get it. They still question it, still don't understand it. Instead of trying to work with him, they still are fighting with him. Washington is going to have to change. Real lasting change where people become more servants of its people. These elected officials, they get paid these salaries, enormous salaries, to get into these offices, need to start really acting like servants and making good on these promises instead of dragging their feet on some of the most key issues that are important to their constituents. Make it happen, Captain. That's where the president's coming from. He just wants them to do their jobs. I think Paul Ryan gets him. This guy's from Wisconsin. People are reasonable up there, largely speaking. The air is cleaner there. Even in Milwaukee. I fly into Milwaukee, when I go up to Neenah and do some broadcast up there, which I think we'll be doing another Michael Funk broadcast soon. Some new news happening up there. I can't wait. Oh, the humidity is so much lower than Florida, man. It is so sticky down here. It's not even funny. Can't wait. But this is just how Trump operates. This is going to be the art of his presidency. You say, well, you shouldn't be making enemies. This Washington is just, it's his own speed. Donald Trump is different. Donald Trump is a trendsetter, and he's set trends with his professional career his whole life. And I believe that to make his mark in history, Trump is going to have to be him because, again, everybody knows that he wasn't a politician. Everybody knows that he's a brash New Yorker. Okay? If you visited New York for the first time or only one time, and you really experience New York, people brashness and being rude and all that stuff, it's just being New York. They're not bad people. Some people feel angry and they're all upset or something. They're not. It's just being in New York. Get us some coffee. Move that car. A lot of middle fingers. But, come on. We're trying to get this job done in a New York moment, a New York minute. You ever hear that? Let's get this stuff done. It must drive Donald Trump crazy. I get where he's coming from. Listen, I live in Florida, okay? It's hard to find good people. It's hard to find good people that'll actually not only show up for the day's work, but actually will do their work. In New York, people get it. They show up 20, 30 minutes, an hour early before their shift to be ready to work. In a suit and tie or what have you, looking good, ready to go, doing a great job because they want their job. You know how many people are there to take your job? If you don't want your job, they hold their job. They get it. They understand it. There's a lot of things you can learn from working in New York City. It's where I started my radio career. There's no slouching. I have an old picture where there's a sign where my dad's in. It said no loafing. There's a lot of politicians in Washington. They're just looking out for them. They're not looking out for their people. They're not looking out for their country. They're so self-absorbed. And if they really did care and give a darn about the future and the prosperity of our country, they would not be dragging their feet on health care. John McCain, that angers me. He knew darn well what he was going to do. And I'm sure that he's heard it from his folks there in Arizona how much. But you know what? He's getting all the health care he needs. Because if it affected him directly, you think that he would have done what he did? Of course he wouldn't. But if he walked a mile in somebody's shoes that was hurting and really got it, and somebody that he cared for, somebody was directly connected to his family, you don't think that he would have done a better job? Come on. The Maverick. A lot of people think he's a dam in disguise. Could be. I try to like him. And you know what? He's a war hero. I salute John McCain. But on the health care deal, no go. No go. And for Trump to, in his own territory, to bash him during the rally, I think it was good. To shame him, if anything, in his own state. That's why Kasich hates Donald Trump. But, you know, sometimes the truth hurts. The truth hurts. It really does. But it doesn't change the fact that if your tooth is hurting in your mouth, it's not going to stop hurting until you get it pulled out. How long do you want to keep that tooth in your mouth from throbbing pain? I tell you, if it was in the senator's mouth, you'd have that removed right this second. The real issue is, the real practical, is that there's folks walking around with teeth they can't afford to take out of their mouth. They got to go take it out themselves. As people are struggling just that way, metaphorically, in so many different ways with other ailments. It's just, to me, it's disgusting. And that is deplorable. You want to call something deplorable? That is it. Is not getting these things taken care of. And I think what they're doing is they're trying to hurt this president. He beat us at our own game, on our own turf. This is how they're getting him back. But they don't realize they're hurting our country and hurting themselves for prospects. Now, there's been some ramblings that there might be somebody that might have run against in their own party in the GOP against Trump. Nobody's taking any type of position right now immediately, but back channels, I'm hearing some of these ramblings that they're going to try to put somebody else up. Everybody else would deny it, but there's talk. These are the good old boys. I'm telling you, this is the Bonneville. These are the Mitches. Okay, this is the old school Republicans. Just like the Democrats have to change. And they will have to change if they're going to resume power. The Republicans are going to have to embrace that this is not your dad's Bonneville GOP anymore. It's not the same anymore. It's not the same. Will not be the same ever again. Look, Kid Rock is thinking about running for president. Kid Rock figures, well, if Donald Trump could do it, why not me? I say more power to you. Go for it. Anybody can run. Not everybody can win. What I see with Donald Trump is a man who very much cares for his country and wants it to be successful. Is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with protecting our borders, protecting its citizens, looking out for people's livelihoods, veterans, making sure they get the care they need and deserve, making sure that we can defend ourselves and protect ourselves? Is there anything wrong with that? Is there anything wrong with not allowing people to take advantage of us and our generosity, taking advantage of all our greatness? Is there anything wrong with that? It's been a long time since there was somebody like a Donald Trump in the White House that really did have all of us in mind. And I think Donald Trump, in that regard, is more Christian than a lot of other presidents that were in the office. This man, as the Spanish call it, the man has cojones. He's got big ones. And folks, that's the kind of person that I think needs to be in the White House anyways. Somebody that actually has thick skin. Some people say, oh, well, Donald Trump